It really does take me an age to think about smart ways of building and testing things, and then when it comes down to it, you just got to start doing it. So I procrastinated a very long time about wooden structures and building a side wall and that sort of crap out of wood, and then all you have to really do is just start scrunching up foil, and you just start placing it in places where you think your mind you like building in 3D. Like if you had a computer and you could be bothered printing stuff, I'm sure that would take days and days and days, but just add a bit here, take a bit there. If this bit you think is too high, you push it down, and it's really just for testing out ideas and then listening. So the listening part is what I'm after. I'm not so much after like one install to rule them all, and if I have an idea that this wall needs to be straighter or more solid to create a better waveguide for this one, or if I think that's going to reflect, then I build it up a bit more. And if I need to enclose this one or not, I'll think about it. I'll see how this one images with this tiny little reflector, so it's within a quarter wavelength of this, and that's fine. And here I've got a ramp off to this side wall here, which is stopping that cancellation. I'm leaving the side open for now because the glass is the other part of this waveguide, so I'm leaving it that way. I'm trying to wall it off and then creating a double lip and double diffraction, so see how that sounds. So I have one little problem. It's not a problem, I guess it's just an obstacle, is this one is still spreading out and then interacting with this glass, so my sweep it goes in a bit, so the image is here on that frequency. So the line of the sweep is, well, the frequency is going up, but it's always here, and then it dips in and goes back. And then when I hold this here, it goes back. So it's taking away the interaction. So there, that's where it goes in. It's almost to the sunglasses. Depends on the angle of my head. But I put this bit of foam here. It's just a bit of foam. And then it goes back to the speaker. So that's the glass bounce on this dome. All I can really do about it is make this flange a bit further protruding, and it might just shift it to another frequency, so I'll give that a go. So it's a little bit extra. So it's minimised it a bit, it's only coming to there. But I do notice if my head is forward a bit, I get a lot more drift, so I think my seating position is normal. If I go back a bit, then the drift in was less, so that's the whole thing about frequency dependent bounce cancellation, and the distance means that there's a different cancellation in the different positions of my head. So yeah, I did just move it down the road, but it is separating it a little bit. I'll probably just try one more go and making this almost curl in a bit, just for the what if. That's what we're here for. So there's an extra piece there now. That has helped a bit better, maybe. It's definitely out of that region, and I just start to hear it bend in on the higher note, which is going out of that crossover range. So that's good to know. With a lower crossover on the top crossover, this one I could put a few more lows in that one, and they'd all be gone. Yeah, because this angle is, the window is slightly angled in, you can see that the direct path for the bounce would have been in this plane, not so much this plane. This is like, if you think logically, the glass is perpendicular, but it's not. So the bounce was actually here. You can see my hand reflection. That's pretty cool. Now I'll just check out how that tweet is doing. So there's higher frequencies in that one. So it's moving in a tiny bit at the top of its crossover, and I can even say that I could move that crossover down too, so that the top speaker, which is this one, see it's got very high. That one doesn't move in at all because it's so tiny. The frequency wavelengths are very small, so it's kind of dephasing and it's not cancelling, but still a lot of direct sound is coming from that one. Put them all together and sweep them again. That sweep has gone through all drivers, and it just starts to get centered when it goes into that crossover between those two. Alright, I'll put a bit of tape on that and drive around with it for a bit. So I've just done a phase tidy up on two presets. The green preset is with none of the extra waveguides, and the red preset is with the waveguides. The left hand side of the car is fully untouched in both tunings, and that's about as close as I could get them. Whereas if I didn't do two alternative tunings and just added the fairing, there's a big difference between those two traces. So I had to do a phase tuning for each, because what I'm listening for is phase corrected depth and stage perception, and if I didn't do a single tuning for each piece of install, then I would be unfairly judging each of the installs, because I'm just trying to judge whether the extra waveguides is going to give me any more depth perception. So just to be clear, we're using FIR filters where magnitude and phase are unlinked, and you can modify each per driver and per side. The first example I found is a hi-hat that's tuned to mid-right, and with the added test fairing, the hi-hat in the mid-right position sits forward on top of the steering wheel, because we have center, mid-right, mid-left and left. So the hi-hat comes in right from the start. There's a deliberately wide Congo part, which I think is generally out of phase, but it makes for good contrast for those other sounds, and a mid-right placement. So I've been looking for mid-right placements. And when I pressed preset 4, took off the experimental waveguide and had a listen. That mid-right hi-hat is appears like a hologram. It's like not quite sitting. yeah, so that's one track I found, and going back to that fact that I've done phase tuning for both presets with both hardware conditions. So I'll see what other tracks I can find. Found another little track, a little house track. Opolopo. A little high mono synth sound is very centered. It's almost like at this front air vent just down here. And I thought I'll check for that center. I'll just preset 4, take off the fairing. I was trying to track where it was with my eyeballs, and even though it was kind of center, it spread a little bit and kind of came out to these bits of glass, and I was looking at these insect marks. It was like floating up a bit, and it wasn't as far back and as narrow, so it sort of widened up a bit. Preset 1 again. On. Yeah, much more pinpoint. And if anyone's really following along at home, this piece is for preset 1, and without it, it's for preset 4. I just did a quick check. Preset 1 without this, and I listened to the same track. And no, it wasn't as precise, and it was wishy-washy. So the phase tuning solving linear phase at the listening position with this 4 microphone setup that I have back here, and the smart computer, Rational Acoustics Smart. Yes, so it was all very well solved, and I've proven that I'm getting a little bit more focus in the center, a lot more definition in the mid-right of the stage, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll see if we can find any more tracks. Another simple test I have is a mono switch, and it basically collapses the stereo field into a mono track as if it were a mono track. So he'll be playing some spread guitars, push the mono buttons, all the guitars are in the middle. Yeah, so back to the perception of depth. Like I said, that's almost at the end of the glass. I just take the fairing off, and then it just spread a tiny little bit. This totally mono source, it spread a little bit, and it came forward a little bit, maybe halfway on that dash mat there. Let's put this Waveguide back on, and then you can see it, almost see it go back, but you can't see it. It's a weird thing. Basically, you want your eyes to focus as to where you think the sound's coming from. And so it moved forward, and it became less directive. Not a lot though. It's when you put that on, bang. It's like, yeah, that's pretty centered. And you go, did you just move that? It's crazy. I'll take it back in the stereo.